Okay, well, good evening again, everyone. Welcome to the public information meeting for project number 63-734, which involves the rehabilitation of bridge number 980A, also known as the Bulkeley Bridge, which carries I-84 eastbound and westbound over the Connecticut River in the city of Hartford and the town of East Hartford. Next slide, please. My name is Tracy Bray, and I am the project manager from the Connecticut Department of Transportation Major Structures Unit. Tonight, I'll start off with some housekeeping items and then introduce the project team. Then I will turn it over to the lead engineer from CHA, which is the consulting firm doing the design of the project, for the technical portion of the presentation. At the conclusion of the technical presentation, we will open it up to a live question and answer session. Next slide, please. This is one of the housekeeping items. If you're joining us via Zoom tonight, you have the option of turning on closed captioning and also changing the language for the closed captioning. So to do this, at the bottom of the Zoom window, there should be an icon that says show captions with a little CC icon. Click on that and select the speaking language that you would like. And then once you select the option, it should turn on closed captioning for you. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, are available also on YouTube after the event.
Para los que se encuentran hoy en Zoom, la opción de tener subtítulos está disponible. Para usarlo, oprima el botón que dice Show Captions Button o el botón que dice CC en la parte baja de la pantalla. Después, oprima el botón que dice Speaking Language Button y seleccione su lenguaje preferido.
For those joining virtually, there are 3 ways in which you will be able to communicate with us tonight. The first, you can submit questions and comments via email at dotproject0063-0734@ct.gov. You can also call 860-594-2020. When leaving a voicemail, please reference project number 63-734. And lastly, if you joined us through Zoom, you can type your questions or comments into the Q&A box. This function is only available during tonight's meeting. You may enter your questions and comments at any time during the meeting. At the end of the presentation, the project team will read the questions and provide responses. We'll walk through how to use the chat function in the next slide. After the meeting, comments and questions can still be submitted via email or phone using the email address and phone number above. The comment period will be open through June 17th, 2024. This contact information, as well as the meeting minutes and a link to the recording of tonight's meeting, will be available on the project webpage. The website URL is https://portal.ct.gov/dot Hartford 63-734. Next slide, please. So to use the Q&A function in Zoom, select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar window. It's the one that's highlighted in the green box on the screen and noted as 1. It has 2 word clouds in Q&A. Once you click on that button, a window will open up as shown in box number 2 on the screen. And then within the green box number 3 there, you can type in your question and just hit enter, and we'll be able to view it. If you're an audio-only participant, dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. So we'd like to also remind everyone of your civil rights. Under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. On this slide, we have links to get additional information from our website, or you can also request information or file a complaint as described on this slide here. We also have a voluntary survey that if you can, we ask that you please fill out, and you'll be able to rate the timing, information provided, and accessibility of tonight's meeting. This is available on our project website. There's a QR code that we'll provide later on. Lastly, we'd like to note again that it will be a recording of this meeting available on YouTube after tonight, so you can go back and watch it again if you'd like. Next slide, please. Turn it back over to Louis. Yeah, thank you.
El Departamento de Transporte de Connecticut se compromete a asegurar que ninguna persona sea excluida de participar en o le sean negados los beneficios de sus servicios de transporte basándose en la raza, color o país de origen de la persona protegida por el Título 6 de la Ley de los Derechos Civiles. Si a usted le parece que ha sido objeto de discriminación en lo que corresponde al Título 6, puede presentar una queja al Departamento de Transporte de Connecticut.
I apologize. We're having some technical difficulties with the PowerPoint presentation. At this point, I'll introduce the project team. The project team from the Connecticut DOT consists of Bart Sweeney, Division Chief of Bridges, Bao Sheng, the Principal Engineer of the Major Structures Unit. He's on the call tonight. Louis Alfonso, Major Structures Project Engineer. And also we have Seth Burgess from District 1 Construction. And then from CHA, which again is the consultant designer on this project, the team includes Ryan Cooley, project manager, Chad Perkowski, the lead engineer, Nathan Loganathan, design engineer, and Sam Martha, the traffic lead from the subconsultant VN Engineers. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Chad Perkowski, and he's going to walk through the technical portion of the presentation.
Thank you, Tracy. Hi again, my name is Chad Perkowski, the lead engineer here at CHA, and I will, as noted, walk you through the details of this project. Next slide, please. So Bridge 980A, the Bulkeley Bridge, resides in the center of this screen. This is a project location map showing I-84 eastbound and westbound, also shown in the middle of the screen. The Connecticut River runs north to south, with the town of East Hartford on the right side of the screen and the city of Hartford on the left side of the screen. Next slide, please. So the Bulkeley Bridge is a very rich historic structure, one of the, if not most, well-received historic structures in the state. It is a stone masonry bridge that was originally built in 1906 at a cost of approximately $3 million at the time. That was an extremely high cost, construction cost for a project, a public project. In 1964, it was widened to the north, utilizing reinforced concrete. And is one of the oldest structures in the interstate system, and is one of the largest stone masonry arch bridges per surface area in the state of Connecticut. The bridge is approximately 1,175 feet long and approximately 121 feet wide. Next slide, please. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to my teammate, Nathan Loganathan. He'll explain the existing conditions of what is being currently, current condition of the structure as it exists today. Nathan?
Thank you, Chad. Good evening, everyone. Before getting into the existing conditions of the Bulkeley Bridge, I thought it would be useful to explain how condition ratings are determined and explain the purpose. Conduct Bridge Inspection Manual states the condition rating is a judgment of a bridge component in its current condition compared to its original as-built condition, which provides an overall understanding of the general condition of the component being rated. Condition ratings are assigned a numerical value, each indicating a different condition. 8 is very good, 7 is good, 6 is satisfactory, 5 is fair, 4 is poor, 3 being serious, 2 being critical, 1 is imminent failure. Next slide, please. The photos and images shown here are a representation of the deteriorated and deficiencies and the roadway level of the bridge. The table on the right shows the detailed condition ratings. Since the pavement is carried across the bridge over fill, no deck rating is provided. The photo on the top left is a general representation of the wearing surface. The wearing surface has cracked, broken surface, and hollow sounding. There is a fixed object hazard in the north parapet. The stone masonry parapet has minor spalls, cracks, and lateral misalignments. The drains have clogged scupper grates and downspouts and severely corroded grates. Next slide, please. The image on the top left is a general condition of the wearing surface. The fixed object hazard, which I discussed earlier, is on the right side, on the top right side. The clogged deck drains are on the top or on the bottom left side. The misaligned parapet is on the bottom right side. Next slide, please. Existing condition of the superstructure. Overall, the superstructure is in satisfactory condition. The image here shows one of the piers which has extensive efflorescence due to the water infiltration from the roadway level through the fill and through the stone masonry. Next slide, please. These are close-up images of the cracks in the stone masonry arch, which exist throughout the entire longitudinal length of the arch. And these are full-length cracks due to thermal movement, and there are no structural concerns due to these cracks. The image on the right side is the cracks on the spandrel walls. Next slide, please. Existing condition of the substructure. Overall, the substructure is in fair condition. Abutments exhibit efflorescence and deteriorated mortar. There are full height cracks, spalled stones, lateral misalignment in the top 3 blocks below the parapet. The other significant deficiency is the 4-inch settlement in the retaining wall in the northwest approach, which was discussed in the earlier slide. Next slide, please. Overall, the channel and channel protection is in fair condition. Scour critical rating is noted to be in 5 per the most inspection report, which implies scour is determined to be within the limits of the footing. The image shown here on the west side is Pier 2, which has the most scour. The riprap are rated a 5 and are noted to be in place along the pier footings. Next slide, please. With that, I will hand over the presentation to Chad.
Thank you, Nathan. So, as earlier discussed, the condition of the structure has shown some age, being over 100 years old. However, the deterioration that the bridge currently exists are fairly minor, and the purpose and need of this project is to bring the bridge back to a state of good repair. And what does that mean? That means the bridge needs to address a handful of things to provide improved traffic safety, to get in front of some of the deterioration that is currently being exhibited, and to clean and maintain the structure. So as part of this project, the project team here will be addressing the substandard parapets on the north side on I-84 westbound, as well as the median, replace the cracked, deteriorated wearing surface, asphalt pavement, clean the bridge scuppers, which removes the surface water from the roadway surface, replace the roadway luminaires with new modern energy efficient LED fixtures, repair the underlying concrete pavement under the asphalt, repair the substructure deterioration as noted earlier in the slides. This also includes below the water voids and spalls to the substructure, seal and repair cracks as noted, clean the efflorescence, remove any graffiti that is present, reconstruct a portion of the upper northwest retaining wall that has settled, and at the completion of the project, we'll seal all concrete from any de-icing salts from penetrating. Next slide, please. Here's a plan view showing the western portion of the structure. The purpose of this plan is to show the limits of the project. The light gray will be the limits of the pavement reconstruction. You can see in the upper left corner is a small portion where the settled upper parapet has, let's say, settled and settled. And that will be reconstructed to provide a uniform surface, preventing any snags from vehicles that may impact it. In the middle portion of the structure is the median. The median will be replaced with a new current standard single slope concrete barrier. In the upper portion along the structure will be similarly replaced with a new concrete slope barrier will be installed in front of the existing stone masonry barrier. Next slide, please. This is a plan view of the eastern portion of the structure. I won't reiterate exactly what I just said, but similarly, in the middle is the median work. The light gray is the pavement reconstruction, concrete repairs, which exist underneath the pavement. And then the northern portion, upper portion of the bridge is the barrier reconstruction. Next slide, please. This is a cross section of the existing structure showing the proposed work. In this slide, you'll see two colored portions. Those are the barriers and medians that are to be replaced. In the middle is the median barrier in a beige tone. That's the single slope barrier I referred to earlier. On the left side of the screen is the northern new single slope barrier that will be installed in front of the existing stone masonry barrier. That'll close off the traffic safety hazard and provide a MASH compliant system. Next slide, please. This project is nearing semifinal design. To this point, the project team has coordinated with the regulatory agencies, the towns, as we work towards getting a final design in place, ensuring that the project minimizes any impacts to the natural resources in the area. The environmental resources in this area in particular include the Connecticut River as a tidal river system. We've coordinated with the NDDB area mapping, showing any special or endangered species, such as the northern long-eared bat, monarch butterfly, to name a few. We've identified the area as not in an aquifer protection area. In terms of impacts, we do anticipate some temporary and permanent wetland impacts, or I should say, we do not anticipate, to clarify, any temporary or permanent wetland impacts at this area as part of this project. We will continue to analyze this as we refine the design. However, at this time, there does not appear to be any impacts to the wetland. In terms of anticipated permits, we will be pursuing a Connecticut Department of Transportation Flood Management Certification General, a U.S. Coast Guard construction letter, a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Section 404 pre-construction notification, a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Section 408 as it relates to the levee system that abuts the eastern and western side of the structure, the Connecticut DEP Certificate of Permission, and the Connecticut DEP Boating Marker Permit. I should note the coordination with Connecticut DEP Fisheries is ongoing, as well as the Office of Environmental Planning, to ensure that we coordinate with the National Marine Fisheries Survey and the NOAA essential fish habitat requirements to ensure that, again, we minimize any impacts to the surrounding area. Next slide, please. Rights of way and utilities. So there are anticipated construction easements required to perform the anticipated construction activities to access the Connecticut River. As noted, there will be some minimal work to the substructures at or below the water line. Most of that work will be performed via a work barge in the river with underwater divers with specialty equipment to perform said work. There will be some work above the water line below the substructure to address the cracking, clean the efflorescence, as noted, the white chalky material as visible in the previous slides. And in the southeast corner, the lower right corner in the previous slides, there was a section of the wing wall where stones have been either dislodged, broken, or settled, which will be addressed via accessing from the town of East Hartford side and reconstructing an upper portion of that wall to bring that back to that state of good repair. In terms of utilities, as noted, the median will be reconstructed with a new concrete slope barrier, single slope barrier with new LED lights. The LED lights will be obviously impacting the current ones temporarily with a new standard at the completion of the project. There are no other electrical or utility impacts associated with this project. Next slide, please. Anticipated traffic impacts associated with traffic. Anticipated project impacts associated with traffic. This corridor is a very highly utilized bridge. It's a primary access point to the city of Hartford to enter and exit. CHA is working with this Department of Transportation to perform a regional traffic management plan to better understand and reduce the traffic impacts as much as possible. That does not include just this project. What that will involve is to look at all the projects in the surrounding area when the construction is anticipated to begin. And the projects will be evaluated in terms of what the traffic movements are, what lanes are being impacted, what pedestrians may be impacted. And that will all sync up and minimize what that looks like to maintain safety and reduce impacts as much as possible. This project can be best described by a series of smaller projects. I'll start with the median reconstruction phase. The anticipated traffic impacts associated with the median reconstruction will involve short-term shoulder and adjacent lane closures. The work will likely begin from the west and work its way towards the east. The duration is approximately 6 months for this type of activity. The next major construction phase of this project will involve the replacement, or I should say more likely the installation of the north barrier, the single slope concrete north barrier. Due to the construction activities associated with this, a long-term closure involving temporary concrete barrier curbs at the north shoulder and adjacent lane are likely required. The duration of this activity is expected to be approximately 9 months. As the project activities extend to the eastern and western side of the bridge, there are on and off ramps very close to the end of the structure. Short-term ramp closures are required to ensure safety and are anticipated during that time. On the western end of the project, there is that northern west end parapet reconstruction required as a result of that settlement, as I noted earlier. That work will be performed utilizing traffic drums, lane closures, will be performed off-peak hours. It's expected to anticipate to be approximately 2 months of duration and will be performed. And I should note, all of these activities will be performed singularly, not at the same time, to reduce, again, the impacts to the adjacent area while the project is being performed. Next slide, please. The project also includes removing and replacing the existing wearing surface and patching the concrete pavement which exists below the pavement. This, again, activity will likely be performed during the nighttime and will involve daily short-term lane closures and drums. It'll be off-peak hours and will exist approximately between 4 to 6 months in duration. I do want to point out, as I noted, the arch and other pier repairs. Those activities will be performed below the roadway surface and do not anticipate impacting the traffic for any extended period of time. Next slide, please. So we talked about the traffic for vehiculars, and now we'll talk about the pedestrians and bicycles. So there is no, excuse me, on-road bicycle planning network in this area. There are, or I should say, is a sidewalk on the south side where pedestrians currently have access to the bridge from the town of East Hartford to the city of Hartford. Being a bridge preservation job project, there is no significant changes to the geometry at the structure, and therefore no significant improvements are recommended for pedestrians or bicyclists at this time. The Hartford Riverwalk is constructed in a statewide multi-use trail which runs beneath the bridge on the western side in the city of Hartford. That is not anticipated to be closed by any means. There may be a small portion for a short duration closed off for pedestrians. However, through traffic of pedestrians will be maintained. That work will be required for short periods of time while the bridge is being repaired and cleaned. And there'll be signage throughout to ensure pedestrian traffic safety and is advance notice. Next slide, please. As I noted with some of the construction activities as it relates to the western side of the bridge, in this particular case, the southern western side of the bridge, there will be a closed ramp to ensure both traffic safety and the construction activities are safe at that time. That will require a closed exit 30 ramp, which will require a detour. The detour route is shown here, utilizing exit 32B to Market Street, I-91 southbound, back to Morgan Street, and accessing I-84 eastbound on the ramp in the city of Hartford. Next slide, please. Similarly, I-84 westbound exit 51 detour, which is essentially I-84 westbound to I-91 northbound, will require closures when the northwestern portion of the bridge is being constructed for a short period of time. The detour route is shown here tonight, which will involve taking exit 50 to Market Street, Talcott Street, down to Columbus Boulevard, onto Grove Street, and accessing I-91 northbound via the ramp. Next slide, please. During the northeastern portion of the project, I think that exit 51 detour will be implemented, which will require a on-ramp closure. The detour route is shown here in yellow. The route will take Connecticut Boulevard to Village Street to Governor Street, back onto I-84 westbound ramp. Next slide, please. While the construction is taking place on the southern portion of the bridge, the pedestrians will be rerouted to the Founders Bridge, the next adjacent crossing south of the Bulkeley Bridge. The detour route will follow the Riverwalk trails along the Connecticut River and access the Founders Bridge as shown here. Next slide, please. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Tracy Braid, the project manager with the Department of Transportation, to discuss the project schedule and construction cost.
Thank you, Chad. So based on the current design schedule, we're anticipating that advertising for construction will occur in fall 2025. And then the start of construction will occur in spring 2027. This is preliminary and subject to change. It's contingent on getting all the permit approvals that we need and the temporary easements that we need to do the construction. The preliminary anticipated construction duration is 3 years long. We're currently at the 30% design level, and at this time, the estimated construction cost is $23.9 million. To pay for this, we're looking to use 90% federal funds and 10% state funds, and no town funds will be required. Next slide. So thank you very much for your time tonight, for taking the time to listen to our presentation, and hopefully you found it informative. At this point, we'd like to open it up to questions and comments. Again, next slide, please. We can pull up. So even at this point, you can email us using the project email address shown here, or call us on the phone, or using the chat function in Zoom, the little Q&A button. And again, we'll have this comment period open through June 17th. You're welcome to still email us with any questions or comments, or you can give us a call and leave a voicemail, and we'll get back to you on your questions.
Technically, I'm a panelist, but I just thought I'd mention that the detours in East Hartford are acceptable to us. They can actually be a little bit shorter even for westbound traffic on Connecticut Boulevard. If you turn them at Thomas Street, you can bring them down and turn them into that Route 500 that connects you back to I-84. So you don't have to actually take everyone down to Village and circle them back on Governor. We will be repaving Governor this year, so by the time this project gets around, the condition of Governor Street should be significantly better than it is today. So that'll be helpful as well. And I'm curious to see the easement that's going to be required to get access on the East Hartford side. Details to be worked out, obviously. And I don't think I have anything beyond that.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Doug, for those suggestions. Yeah, we'll definitely look at that later on. I apologize. Doug Wilson, the town engineer from East Hartford, is joining us tonight. So we appreciate your input, and yeah, we will look into it in the final design, and we'll be in touch with the proposed detour routes and everything.
Great. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Looking forward to working with you guys too. Thanks. I guess if there are no questions or comments at this point, we'll wrap up this webinar. Again, not only are you able to contact us on the project webpage, we will have a link to this recording. This whole presentation was recorded, so you can rewatch it, and if it makes you think of any comments or questions, then please don't hesitate to contact us. We'll also be providing the link to the recording of this on YouTube to the City of Hartford and Town of East Hartford, and it will be available on their web pages as well. And with that, I'd like to thank you again for joining us tonight, and hope you have a wonderful night. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.